Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Well, what can I say? That was the fourth of what have been fantastic previews that Steve Allpress has put together for us this week. May I just take the opportunity to thank Steve for taking the time to put these previews together. He's attended 2 of the 4 days at the festival in person. I know it can't have been easy for him with the time to find the time with the strikes as well, but we've got through it, and this is the final day of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival Day 4 preview. Right, Steve will be back towards the end of the show with some of his selections, but first I am going to run through my preview of the 4th day. I sit here at around 8 p.m. on Friday night after a good old-fashioned beating today, really. Caldwell Potter, Shishkin, Blazing Cal. We've had a few defeats today, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And on day 4, I'm going to play it quite cautiously, I think, because it's quite a quiet day anyway, and things aren't quite going my way. So I've got to be quite defensive, I think. Going to take a look first at the 130, which is the Triumph Hurdle for 4-year-old hurdlers. I mean, my juvenile hurdlers are all over the place this year. I only identified 2. Neither of them have made the race, although my only winner of the week was given it in the juvenile handicap hurdle, the Boodles. This race here is very frustrating for me, really, because the 2 market principles really have tied in quite nicely with my selections. Blood Destiny, the Willie Mullins horse, well, that was beaten by 3.5 lengths by one of my selections, Bo Zenith. But whereas Bo Zenith was managed to be beaten by beaten and then won a Class 2 and a Class 4 juvenile hurdle, they had him ready this time of the year. They chose to run him on a Monday afternoon at Plumpton rather than go for this race, or even the Boodles. That's how different these trainers are. I mean, look at the job Willie Mullins has done with Blood Destiny. He's improved him fantastically. And Blood Destiny has also beaten Nusret, who was my other 4-year-old hurdler. Lossy Mouth, if you look at that race there, the 3rd of April, actually won her race in France on the same day as Bo Zenith. So that's a little clue there that in April, Classic Trials and Triumph Trials. Lossy Mouth's done absolutely nothing wrong. But in the Dublin Festival, I thought, I'm not sure. I wasn't with the horse at the start due to the pedigree. And I think if I had to pick between the 2, which I do really in this race, my selection would be Blood Destiny. Gala Marco. I've watched a few of these Marcos go round over the years. They're owned by Guy Parent usually. And I imagine this one was at some point, if people look at the form of it. I've watched it a couple of times. It actually did win an Ortoy listed race where it beat Rose Secret by 11 lengths. And then Kenny Alexander pounced. It was second behind Lossy Mouth in a Grade 2. And then it beat Lossy Mouth in a Grade 1 at the Dublin Festival. And I think it was more the favourite underperforming, I think. But I'm not strong on this. Like I said, I've not got a good handle on these because mine aren't there. If mine were there, I'd be confident, obviously. Zenta, JP McManus's horse, has won at Ortoy and Fairy House. Again, I'd have to pick these up at a much later date at this stage. It's a race, really. I've not really got any concrete viewing, really. There's Gary Moore's runner, Jupiter Jajit, 25 to 40s. There's no Bo Zenith. He's got Jupiter Jajit instead. I mean, to me, I don't know. It's not a race I've got a massive view on this year. But if someone was to say you've got to make a selection in a race because people are listening, I'd be given, even Blood Destiny is so short, I'd be reluctant to give a tentative selection on a 2-to-1 shot. So I'm not going to. Sorry, you're not going to force me to give bad advice. 250 is the next race I'm going to take a look at. The Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, Grade 1, over 3 miles, a proper stayers trip. Like Steve said, this race of future stayers hurdles, future Grand National horses. Nothing is off the table here. Corbett's Cross I actually did look at before it won the Grade 2 at Naas. I don't fancy it on pedigree. It's not one I'm with. 3 Card Bragg. What Steve said about the horse, I think he's right because I know it's related to a horse that won the Northumberland National when it was trained by Howard Johnson called Bellon Gale. It's a stout, sturdy horse. This 3 Guard Bragg, and it's looked a bit slow once or twice, I think, when I've watched it. But it's this sort of race, that sort of when we say slow, we mean it in the nicest possible sense, 4 mile horses, they're not sprinters, are they? You know? Hidden Valley Lake, the Rabcore horse is one I'm not really with either. Embassy Gardens I have flirted with, but I'm going to let it go because I was watching it in bumpers last year. It never showed me enough. And it's been beaten by Goodland, whose form it ran okay today, but it was fourth. And Kilbury Warriors the winner by 35 lengths there. I don't think we learned a lot that day. So it's a well-bred horse though. Sort of Adriana de Mott's a good dam rated 140. Looked at the horse before. Favori de Champneuf is one I know absolutely nothing about. I noticed it's won a Grade 2 and it's run some nice races. So it's one really, if it was to look impressive, I could easily pick that up novice chasing next year. And, you know, this is a race that is a very small part of a horse's career in national hunt racing. It's not the be all and end all of a horse's career. So you're in no rush at all to identify these national hunt horses unless you're totally sure that it's one you're going to side with for 5 years. That's the only advice I can give you when backing national hunt horses. Pick them up at the start. If you're going to start tomorrow, start with the bumpers and the novice hurdlers and follow their careers. Ignore the chases until you've learnt about the horses you've watched with your own eyes or the pedigrees of them, whatever you're looking at. Monty Star. These I don't know enough about them to really give any view. Dawn Rising to me is a massive price. I mean, that to me is a classy animal. I followed that one. That's one that I am actually with. It actually beat American Mike by 8 lengths in a Grade 3 earlier in the season. The Monksfield Novices Hurdle when it ran to 145. Then it looks well held by Champ Kiley. But for a Group 3 winner to be placed in a Group 1 race, even though the ratings aren't there, you have to say that the horse has held its own. I really do think the horse has held its own. I mean, the pedigree of it, I've not got it open now for some reason, but I'm going to now because I'm going to show everybody that this is a nice horse, just in case anyone is thinking, I might believe him here a bit. Devoted to You is the dam of it. Dawn Rising, if people look at the form of it, it ran in the Bahrain Trophy behind Al Azi. It's not a bad horse. Sovereign won the Irish Derby. This horse is a full brother to an Irish Derby winner, running over hurdles. We'll go back another 2 dams. We could go back a lot further. The video's there and on the YouTube channel. Go and check it out if you really want to learn about this horse. There's others there. You see, it's a black type flat pedigree. And some of these dams have bred some fair horses. Let's go back a 3rd dam, and then we'll call it a day on the horse. You see, Vander's Choice, another 144 rated jump horse there. And you've got legendary filly Balankine there. Romanov, Red Slippers. Click on some of these dams, I dare you. And just see if they bred anything good. Or you've dared me now, so click on one. Red Slippers, okay. Let's click on that one. And then this is a sort of, we can get down rabbit holes here, and the video could be on for an hour if we're not careful. That one there looked very nice. But 116 rated mare, look. West Wind. And another 130 rated jump horse. We've got to click on that one now. You see, and this is how you know horse is well bred, because you just look at it all the time. 115 rated colt there, look, West Wind Blows. It's a highly touted horse. They've run it in some decent races, that horse. It's a very nice pedigree this horse has got. There's a few 140, 150 rated jump horses in it, and it's very classy on the flat in relation to some of these. I will say that. Very nice horse, Dawn Rising. And that would be my each way selection in the race. Stay Away Faye is kind of interesting. I watched that on its 3rd start. and I was kind of hopeful that I might have found one. It's an English novice hurdler, though, and they've been stuffed all week. So people will need, I will need balls of steel to even have anything on this because they've been stuffed all week. I probably will, just because it's the way I am. And 137, you see, it's running okay, but I was hoping for a 140 plus performance and a win that day. It stayed on well. It just, it made a bad mistake at the last. It kept on again. And I thought, I went away from that race thinking it was the best horse in the race still. So if I think that, I've really got to chance it today. It was in the race at Doncaster, the Grade 2, River Don, novices hurdle, you know. But I was hoping for a bit better than that in that race. 141, 142 in this race. It's not a well badly bred horse though, look. There's a few black typers in there. Look, 145, Generous Ransom, Little River Bay, a 139 rated mare. The next dam after that, Penny Rose Bay, this horse here that we're looking at now. She herself was rated 140. Latimer's Place 140 also, you see. But what it is missing, I've clicked on the next couple, there's not a lot there. But I was looking at it, you see, is this better than that? Or is this horse just going to flatten out into another 140 rated horse? Or are these horses yardsticks and this will be 160, 170? But that's why I was disappointed at Doncaster. But if it wins tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. It's not a bad horse, I don't think. Right, the next race I'm going to take a look at is the Gold Cup. A race that really lost its lustre with me, really, because I was a massive Protectorat fan. Now I'm only a slight Protectorat fan in the race because he got me all excited when he won the Betfair Chase by 11 lengths. When he beat Eldorado Allen, running to a career best 175. I thought to myself, he's going to win the Gold Cup. He was third in the race last year. Then he blew the trial, really. The Paddy Power Cotswold Chase, fourth of six behind Oi Signor. Although he looked there, Oi Signor, he's more fancy than Oi today. Protectorat, it would be my each way selection in the race. The others, just form picks. Galopin de Champs, obviously is what he is. He could outclass these lot. He's outclassed a lot of horses recently, rather than falling against Bob Ollinger when he had the race at his mercy. But he's not the 180 horse that normally wins this race yet. If he wins, he'll be a career best, I think. A Plutard is one that has had a very interrupted preparation. It's been pulled up at Haydock and that's it, behind Protectorat. Hasn't been seen since. Envoy Allen won today, though, for the owners. So I'm sure that the horse will gain interest. Brave Man's Game is a horse I've never been with, really, for some reason. It just doesn't do it for me. King George is a race, a Grade 1 race. It's that sort of horse. And I don't think it's a King George, a Gold Cup winner. So I'll pass on it. Noble Yates seems to be taking his form to a whole new level, really. But whether it's good enough to win a Gold Cup is another question. Statler, I got frustrated with this one when it lost that race there, first time this season, on New Year's Day in the Savills New Year Day chase, because I know that's a race that Alboom Photos won a couple of times on his way to a Gold Cup. So this is the Gold Cup horse. They've campaigned it. Slammed by Galopin de Champs, though, after that by 8 lengths. And again, there's not the 170 rated performance that puts him up level with some of the others. But I think he's one that is improving. And there's an Our Honey, I will point out. I like these sort of things. It's Might I is running in the last. So that's a horse that I was hoping for. It's ran behind both Constitution Hill and John Bon over hurdles. And it was second behind Three Stripe Life in the Grade 1 at Aintree. And this year, it's just, I don't know what they've done with it. I was hoping they'd go novice chasing with it. But they just haven't. But that's running in the last today. So if you fancy Statler, then I can't see how you don't fancy that in a weaker race. Conflated, again, seems to be one of them horses that comes over from Ireland and flies to deceive in the UK. It got beaten by Clan des Obeaux at Aintree. It fell in the Ryanair last year. You see a few horses like that. I don't fancy it. Minella Indo, former Gold Cup winner, hasn't been seen since it beat Statler by a neck. And the bare run of that form, I think it finds a lot to find. You know, Protector at my one, terrible run last time out. Oi, Senor. There's a horse that I've never been with. He's a risky jumper to me. He just looks like he's going to put in a risky jump all the time. Sounds Russian is a horse I can't really fancy. He's on this at least on these terms. He's a good handicapper in his own right. Hewick is one that's been running in America. Won a Grade 1 in America on its last start by 11.5 lengths. Brilliant piece of placing from the Shark. But I don't think it can win here. Royal Pagaille, it depends how much rain they've had, I suppose. If they've had a lot of rain, they wouldn't rule this horse out. It's finished 6th and 5th, like they've said, in the last 2 Gold Cups. Second behind Brave Man's Game in the King George, and that horse is the second favourite. Third favourite, sorry. And I like Royal Pagaille to a certain extent. But it's got plenty to find on the figures. Eldorado Allen is another one with plenty to find on the figures as well. Since he's been beaten by Protectorat, he's been 4th in the King George and 5th behind Zanza in the Denman Chase. And Zanza, despite winning one of the primary UK trials for this race, has not had the nerve to turn up. Zanza, unless it's injured, which it is, I apologise to Connections. It's 3rd in the Ryanair in 2022, and it's not turned up this year. And that's the form for Eldorado Allen, isn't it? Sorry, not Zanza. I don't know what's happened to Zanza. But this race here, like I said, Gold Cup this year, very competitive, unless you take Galopin de Champ's improvement that everyone seems to be taking as a given. For granted, it's a 183, sets the standard of Aplutard on the form. Been pulled up, it's had 1 run since last March and has been pulled up. Loads of question marks to answer about the rest. I think it's a race that people pay their money and take their choice in. The last race I'm going to talk about is the 450, the Mrs. Paddy Power Mares Chase, the Grade 2, registered as the Libertine Chase. Why don't they just call it that? Libertine was a fine mare, owned by the Whaley Cohens. I remember her well. 450. I've got a couple of my mares in here that I've identified in the videos that have been running awful all week, are running in this race, and it's no surprise that they feel the top 2 in the market. In fact, I've identified LMA as well in the race. It's a good race, this. Some plenty of depth in the race. Allegory Devassi beat subsequent Grade 1 winning hurdler Brandy Love last January, and then received an injury, unfortunately, and missed the rest of the season. Well, I'm sure she would have proved herself to be the best Grade 1 mares novice hurdler last season. She then came out and won 2 Grade 2 mares novice chases on her first 2 chase starts, running to 153 and 162. Clear progression. And this horse is interestingly bred because it's from the family of Lawrence. The Grade 1 winning flat horse, Racom, the second dam of this, is the dam of Lawrence. So this horse has got speed. And there's a 142 rated 2-mile chaser in there as well, very close to it. Very good mare, I think. Allegory Devassi. And the other one I identified was Impervious. I actually identified it before JP McManus bought it. Good to see that he's watching my videos. It's a very nice pedigree, the horse. It's actually from an American dam line rather than a European dam line. So that makes it quite an unusual mare from a breeding point of view. Blodge, as Impervious, now rated 154. The second dam was very good. Bilboa beat Azerta Uriot by 20 lengths. If you can, yes, you did hear that. The second dam of this horse, beat Azerta Uriot by 21 lengths at Aintree in 2001 in the 4-year-old novices hurdle. That's the sort of horse we're talking about, this second dam here. Mixed it with the best, Jaya de Cochet in the finale hurdle as well in 2000. Back in the day when the French horses were good. And they didn't sell all their best horses over here. Now they just race for English owners. But this horse has been very good. Look, for Hors La Loire, it was third actually in the 2002 champion hurdle behind Hors La Loire. I've only just spotted that. That was a good horse. And the second behind Landing Light in the 2001 Christmas hurdle. So it's a horse that if people have watched UK racing for a long time, people will remember Bilboa, the second dam of Impervious, and how good she was. And the third dam, Maison A's, there's another horse there, 155, rated Makunji, who used to be trained by Nicky Henderson and owned by the Whaley Cohens. The third dam, Maison A's, is actually a half sister to Mansonien, one of the top sires in national hunt racing for a time. Has sired many a 160 horse and at 150 horse, but the progeny are more known for racing in France, really, at a time when they weren't really rating the races. But there's been a lot of Mansoniens. In fact, Brave Man's Game, the stallion of that, is by Mansonien, called Brave Mansonien. So very well bred horse, Impervious. How am I meant to pick between those two? Bloody hell. Absolutely impossible. And also you've got Jeremy's Flame in there that I don't fancy. A lot of these mares, I've watched them a few times. Magic Days, I don't fancy because Stone has been not well bred enough for me. Riviere de Tel, the same. Ellie May, I think she's a ridiculous price in here. She's ran well in the race before. In fact, she won the race in 2022. When she beat Scarlet and Dove, subsequent Grade 1 winner, who I've also fancied to win this race last as well, but she unfortunately had a setback. But you look at the form of LMA. Is she the same? Is she the same horse? She's actually related to Goshen. If people didn't know that, that's how I latched on to LMA. Hyde is also the dam of Goshen. If people didn't know that, people watch these horses go round. I think sometimes, me myself included, for years, and they don't tell you them horses are related. Goshen and LMA. I was amazed when I found out. And as I say, that 163 and 159. When's the next one? There's one there called Harrisburg with Nicole in 2017. Somoli by Camelot. It's 5 now. There's got to be others coming down the pipeline. Goshen and LMA have been fantastic servants to the dam. She needs something to come through now and carry on their tradition. But you saw it with Side de Burley today. Impossible. I've followed Side de Burley before. Backed it loads of times. Yes, of course I did. Not a lot, but yeah, you had to. I did anyway. But LMA to me wouldn't surprise you if she ran a massive race. Zambella to me has been well placed by connections to win many a listed race. But if people in England, but if you look at her form, I think you'll see that she does fall short at this level. Pink Legend is one I don't fancy at all. Dolcita. I can't see why it's such a big price. I've watched a lot of these races go round. I watched that race when she beat Ballyshannon Rose. I watched that race when she got beat by 47 lengths by Scarlet and Dove. Oh, Scarlet and Dove might not be a Grade 1 winner then, a Grade 2 that race was it? Okay. And then again, I watched Scarlet and Dove beat her on New Year's Day. But Scarlet and Dove I've got as a good horse. I don't think that Dolcita, they've got her as the outsider of the lot. I don't think she'll be last. Looking at the race, I do not think that'll be last. But it looks a very tough race and impossible for me. I'm just going to sit back and watch my two, Allegory Devassi and Impervious, go round, looking out for the big grey on the outside, maybe to get involved, Ellie May as well. The race I'm starting to really enjoy. I've got a good record in the race. Cole Reeve was brilliantly bred, and she did the job for the race in the race as well. You got Ellie May as well, who's done the job. It's a good race, a fantastic addition to the calendar, and a race that is only going to improve the stock of all national hunt racing. Black type is important to breeders, and the more of it they've got, the better. The more seriously they'll take it. It's no coincidence that a lot of these dams are French bred. Because the French have got an established breeding pattern just for jumps. Ours, you look at ours, all the stallions side our UK horses, they're all just stayers on the flat. But in France, a lot of them are legitimate hurdlers that are end tyres. It's a The UK is so far behind when it comes to breeding national hunt horses. It is untrue, and it is no surprise to me that they are getting stuffed. You know, it just isn't, because there's no. It's starting to get there in 15, 25 years' time. You'll be able to look at two generations of like grade one winning mares, and that's perfect. It's what people need to see it on paper before they see it on the grass in horse racing. I do believe that. So this is a very tricky race. And with that, I will wrap up my selection, my previews, I think, for the final day, day 4 of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. May I just thank you all for supporting the channels, watching the videos on YouTube, subscribing, following, or just writing down and learning, whatever you're choosing to do with these videos. It's perfectly fine by us. Yeah. I'm going to end this preview here, and now I'm going to hand you over to Steve Allpress, and he is going to give you his final batch of selections for the final day of the 2023 Champion Hurdle of 2023 Cheltenham Festival. Sorry, Steve, thank you very much for taking the time, as always. It's very much appreciated. It's been an absolutely fantastic week. Good luck to everybody involved, and here are the selections of Steve Allpress for day 4. Fantastic. Some very good selections there, I think, from Steve Allpress on the final day of the 2023 Cheltenham Festival. Can I just take the opportunity to thank Steve for giving selections every day this week? It's been very much appreciated. Right. It's been a long, arduous week for everybody, horses, everybody, including myself. I will just run through the selections quickly. My selections quickly are the following. In the 250, I'm going to give 2 each way horses that ideally you'd back on extra places if you were going to have a nice, sensible, responsible bit of fun in the race. Dawn Rising and Stay Away Faye. But they're both, I think, fair prices. In the 330, the Gold Cup, I'm the same. Both Protectorat and Statler. I'm hoping that one of them, or if not both, might be good enough to get involved. And the price allows people to play the horses a bit defensively and maybe take a less price and increase your chances of getting a return on the race and making a little bit on the race. And my final selection of the day, again, using similar tactics, Mai Tai. I'm going to pick Mai Tai, Statler and Mai Tai there, you see. The double out the dam. That's what I'm looking for in the 330 and the 530. That's it. We've got nothing else to say. Eventually, the talking has to stop, and it's after the selections on the last day. What a fantastic week it's been. Congratulations to all the winners involved. It's been a fantastic week. Thank you very much to Steve Allpress for taking part in the preview. We'll be back, hopefully, at some point in the future with some sort of coverage or another. But for now, I've been Paul Newman on behalf of Steve Allpress. Thank you very much for watching this week. Have a fantastic day, everybody, and goodbye.